Biggest problem is that cultural understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They don't
Mm-hmm.
live in a culture
Mm-hmm.
that we live in, and our
Yeah.
culture requires a different mindset to
Mm-hmm.
understand the consumer. I think that's in the perspective to keep in mind for brands when they are shopping around for the
Mm-hmm.
right team, right? They
Yes.
shouldn't be shopping around just for the skills or just
Mm-hmm.
price.
Yeah.
They should truly interview companies
Mm-hmm.
and, designers and developers and
Mm-hmm.
product and project managers to understand, like, what do you
Mm-hmm.
care about? What's
Yeah.
important to you? Will you be the right fit for my company
Mm-hmm.
as a team,
Yeah.
even if it's a temporary project? E-commerce lives in so many places, right? Even nonprofit
Yeah.
organizations
Yeah.
that do online donations, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot accept donations without e-commerce, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
what systems supported? There's actually a
Mm-hmm.
lot of processing companies that
Mm-hmm.
work really well with
Mm-hmm.
nonprofits and then give
Mm-hmm.
them such a huge break on processing fees and
Yeah.
additional
Yeah.
fees that these processing companies love to charge. Even taking like even B2B, right? In some
Mm-hmm.
cases B2B, trying to keep your like retail distribution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Consistently working with you, reordering, tracking their orders, tracking their sales, tracking their bestsellers. It helps, right? It's
Yeah.
all e-commerce related. And now healthcare is getting into it more, right?
Mm-hmm.
With telehealth
Yeah.
becoming a big deal. You
Yeah.
still got a bill for the virtual
Mm-hmm.
consultations. Been talking to some law firms, and we're
Mm-hmm.
going to be helping a law firm set up a telehealth type of a format where they could also
Nice.
book consultations, virtual
Cool.
consultations online,
Yeah.
get paid for it, right?
Yeah.
Even though they're sitting at home in pajamas doing nothing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
they could still offer legal
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
Uh, Lots of
And
opportunities may come.
oftentimes those opportunities, they don't, that you need an interaction designer when you like start to string together all of these platforms to like deliver on the service that you've positioned or the product that you're offering in this online market. But that the role of a UX designer, it might shift to something more of like a service designer, because now you're looking at how all of these different services are like tied together to create an ecosystem for your brand. And so I think it's kind of interesting to look at like the different branches of UX design that have kind of emerged over the years, and how the kind of the terminology has been applied in like the service design space or the customer experience space. There's a lot of real serious overlap, even though you're applying the tools in different contexts.
Right. We also need to dig in a little bit into the difference between UX designer and a UI designer
Yeah.
and a graphic designer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
An information designer.
animation designer, right? So,
Yeah.
nothing is straightforward, and it's never a one size fits
Yeah.
all. It's never a
No.
one man army. It takes
No.
a team, takes the right resources,
Mm-hmm.
takes and depends on the
Yeah.
right project.
And the
And I
right
think the
skills.
most important, right? The skills is one thing, but most importantly is mindset. I'm just going to
Yeah.
add one
Totally.
more point, and then we're going to wrap it up. Is that
Yeah.
we used to, when we were starting out, we were always being compared to like outsourced companies overseas
Mm-hmm.
versus US, right?
Uh-huh.
Brands always trying to save money on
Mm-hmm.
because look, New York agencies, they're not cheap. They're not the
Mm-hmm.
cheapest. It's a known fact.
Mm-hmm.
But and competing with prices in India is absurd.
Mm.
You should never compete.
Yeah, but you're not going to get the right quality.
Right, but outside of the quality, the biggest problem is that cultural understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They don't
Mm-hmm.
live in a culture
Mm-hmm.
that we live in, and our
Yeah.
culture requires a different mindset to understand the consumer, right?
Yeah.
Frankly, we're spoiled, right? In America, everybody's spoiled. We get everything
Mm-hmm.
at any time. Amazon spoiled us so badly.
Yeah.
Netflix spoiled us. You get everything in an instance. If Netflix is not loading within 3 seconds, we're complaining. If
Yeah.
Amazon Prime it cannot ship in 2 days, we're like,
Yeah, you're like, forget it. I'm not even gonna bother. Yeah.
right. Versus cultural, right? And again,
Mhm.
it's not a bias; it's just a fact, or that like in countries like India or other third world type of countries, they're used to a lower level expectations, and they're not so spoiled, so their tolerance level is much lower. So they always worry about function rather than an experience, right? Oh, this button works. Who cares if it looks like crap, right?
Yeah, it's in completely the wrong place.
Right, or that it's in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Like it's there.
No one can find it, but it works
Right.
so great.
Use your head, find it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that cultural difference made a big deal, and so the mindset, right? This is just an example, right?
Mhm.
So when you're building a team to, when you're constructing a team to work on your product, you need the team with the right mindset, right? If you're a luxury brand and you're gonna hire, a bunch of designers that couldn't care less for luxury, they're not going to design you an experience that will resonate with people that care about luxury, or techies, or if you're doing something that has a great humanitarian impact, right? If you're going to get a designer that all they care about is flashy, expensive things, they're very unlikely to care about whether a tree gets cut down and water gets polluted, right? So putting the right teams together to design takes a mindset as well, right? You gotta
Absolutely. Yeah.
connect the dots.
Cool.
So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
But
It's very useful. It's a good perspective, I think.
yeah, and
Yeah.
because I think that's in the perspective to keep in mind for brands when they are shopping around for the
Hmm.
right team, right? They
Yeah.
shouldn't be shopping around just for the skills or just
Mhm.
price.
Yeah.
They should truly interview companies
Hmm.
and designers and developers and
Hmm.
product and project managers to understand, like, what do you care about? What's
Yeah.
important to you? Will you be the right fit for my company
Hmm.
as a team,
Yeah.
even if it's a temporary project? Like it's
Yeah.
super important.
Yeah. I mean, it's so much about that connection.
Thank you again, as always.
Yes. Thank you, Yuri. It's always wonderful to talk to you.
That's right. Well, so till next time.
Yes. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.